So Ballerina releases this weekend, but is it worth your time? Don't worry, I've got your spoiler-free movie review right here. So Ballerina tells the story of a ballerina played by Ana de Armas, who is seeking revenge for the murder of her family. The plot is short, sweet, and to the point, as most movies are in the John Wick universe, and yes, this movie does take place in the John Wick universe. I believe it is the 5th film in that universe. This movie is directed by Len Wiseman, who, to the best of my knowledge, hasn't done anything in film in the last 7 or 8 years. He's done only work in TV, and before that, he did work on the Underworld movies, which, those are movies. But I was hoping with this one he would go for a little bit different style and it wouldn't be the same type of action movie that this guy has been making in the past, because I'm not a fan of some of his work before this movie. Since its release, it's been reported that Len Wiseman was not actually the sole director of this film, that other director, Chad Stahelski, who directed John Wick 1, 2, 3, and 4, took over the filming of this movie until it was finished. And you could definitely sense that there were 2 different directors that were involved in this film because it's a bit of a mess. The story, or lack thereof, was not engaging whatsoever. No spoilers, of course, but they try to give Ana de Armas's character a bit of a revenge story similar to what happened in the first John Wick, but it never quite has the same amount of heart that that first movie had. This feels like one of those movies that one director got about halfway through filming in the studio, realized, oh, we do not like the direction that this is going. Another guy took over, and unfortunately, due to budget issues, they weren't able to reshoot the entire film, so the new director had to work with what he already had, which was not great ideas, and try his best to put his own spin on it, so it comes off as flat. The story never feels focused. It never feels like it has an idea of what it's trying to be. Things just kind of happen very sporadically. And there's a couple reveals in the film that have no weight to them whatsoever and no build-up. It's just a random reveal that just randomly happens. It was very jarring, some of the scenes in this movie. But luckily, those scenes are few and far between. For the most part, I would say of the 2-hour runtime of this movie, an hour and 30 of it is action scenes. The entire film feels like one elongated action scene that has a little bit of story thrown in there, where I think they should have switched that. It should have been a movie that had a story with a little bit of action in there. It would have made for an overall better viewing experience, but what we got was just a straight-up action thriller that doesn't really care about its characters or plot at all. But I gotta say, those action scenes, when they are happening, are fairly thrilling. There are a couple handful that are super memorable. One in particular involving grenades and another one involving a knife strapped to a gun. There were quite a few action scenes that I had a really good time with, but this movie is unfortunately bogged down by its lack of story and characterization. Oh, and I almost forgot, there's also an action scene involving a flamethrower that is so badass. This movie is at its best when it's being campy, when it's going over the top and being silly. That's when I'm having the most fun with this movie, and unfortunately, those moments are few and far between. Ana de Armas is also fairly good in the film. She does her best with what she's given, which, again, isn't a lot. She doesn't have a lot to do, but she makes it work for the most part. I thought she was good in the movie. This is going to be one of those movies where you just have to know yourself. Are you an action junkie? Are you wanting to just throw some popcorn in your face, watch some blood, guts, and gore get splat all over the screen? If that's you, then you're probably going to enjoy yourself. But if you're looking for a film with more of a story, with something that you can grab onto that has emotion, like that first John Wick movie did, then you're probably not going to enjoy this film as much. I definitely didn't hate this movie, but I really didn't love it either. It just kind of falls somewhere in the middle. I think overall, it's a fine viewing experience. I enjoyed myself for the most part. I was just hoping that there was going to be a little bit more meat on the bone. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and give Ballerina a 2.9 out of 5. I think if it hadn't been for the director change and the reshoots, this film would have had more of a vision of what it actually wanted to be, but still, it's a perfectly fine time at the theaters, and it's a decent action movie. Guys, I'm about to be in New Orleans for the next 10 days. I'm going to be gone on a work trip, but I'm hoping that I can get out to the theater and get at least one review out for you guys. But if not, I'll see you guys when I'm back from New Orleans, and I'll see y'all in the next review.